Hi guys, how are you all doing? Welcome back to another video on my YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Scott Edwards. I'm a musician and I make YouTube videos as well. So if music and YouTube are two things you are interested in, consider clicking that little subscribe button just down below there and coming and being a part of this community. Now, over the last few months, people have started to take up a lot of new hobbies because we've had a lot more time on our hands and a lot of people have turned to music. So what I wanted to do today was talk about a question that I keep getting asked on my Instagram page, and that is whether or not you need music lessons to be a musician. So let's get into the video. Okay, so as a musician, whenever I am gigging, I always get asked how many lessons I've had. How long did it take me to learn the guitar? How did I learn the guitar? Have I ever had a singing lesson? And the answer to all of these is no, I've never had a lesson. And people are always shocked when I say that. And I always get people saying as well, oh, I could never do that because I've never had a lesson. But that's what I wanted to talk about today. The fact that you might not necessarily need lessons to be a musician. Now, before I get into this, I know this is going to be different for everyone. Some people might want lessons, they might enjoy lessons. For some people, like me, lessons aren't for them, and there are other ways to learn how to play the guitar, how to play the piano, how to write songs. There are other ways around it. You don't necessarily have to have lessons, but for some people, they might be essential, they might just enjoy them and they want to keep going to lessons. It can also depend on the type of music that you play. So for example, classical music, that requires a lot of sight reading. So you're going to need to learn how to read music. Whereas the music that I play, the music that I'm interested in, you don't need any of that. It might help sometimes, but you don't need it. It's not essential. You can find other ways around it. And you only need to look in the charts to find evidence for that. So the music I listen to a lot of Noel Gallagher. Noel Gallagher never had a guitar lesson in his life. He taught himself. Stereophonics, Kelly Jones, exactly the same. Foo Fighters, Dave Grohl never had a drum lesson, never had a guitar lesson, never had a singing lesson. So for me, that is the music that I'm interested in. That's how I was brought up playing the guitar. I taught myself how to play the guitar because I was inspired by these musicians. So for some people, that is exactly the same for them. So for example, if you listen to a lot of classical music and you see a pianist that you really like and you're inspired by, you might follow down their route a little bit more and have classical lessons and get trained to be a classical musician. So it really does depend on the style of music that you're interested in and how you want to learn. So what I'm going to do in this video is talk about some of my experiences and how I learned to play music. And then we're going to talk about some of your opinions as well, because I asked you to get involved on social media. So we'll have a look at some of those opinions as well. Now, growing up as a kid, I had 4 guitar lessons. I had 2 each with 2 different teachers, and I hated all 4 of those guitar lessons. Now, that might be because of the teacher I had. I might not have got along with them. I might not have liked their teaching style. I don't know, because I was a kid. I can't really remember that far back. But I know that I lost interest in the guitar because they didn't make it interesting. And for me, I'm going to get into this in a little bit. Making sure you have the right teacher if you're going to have a lesson is massively important, but I'll get into that in a little bit. So at the end of the day, those 4 guitar lessons that I had, they forced me to stop playing the guitar because they made it that uninteresting that I lost interest in playing the guitar. All I wanted to do was learn how to play songs. Now, I know they were only my first lessons, but me being the impatient person I am, I just wanted to learn how to play songs. But when you go to a lesson, you're taught how to play by the textbook. You're taught how to do everything so precisely. And for me, I didn't get along with that. I just wanted to learn how to play songs like the musicians that I was inspired by, that I heard on the radio and that my dad listened to in the kitchen while he was washing up. The other thing by having lessons for me is you are learning the way that someone else wants you to learn, and you're learning at their pace and the way that they learn to play the guitar as well, which might not necessarily be the right way for you to learn the guitar, which it turned out it wasn't for me. So naturally, when it came to lessons, I just gave up and I didn't play the guitar. It just sat in the corner of the room and I didn't touch it again. I didn't play it, I didn't pick it up for another 10 years until one day I picked it up and thought, I'm just gonna teach myself how to play the guitar. And I did. I learned how to play my first song. I think it was Talk Tonight by Oasis. But I realized that it was possible to teach yourself. And from then, I taught myself more chords and started to learn more songs. And my interest in music grew until it got to the point where I was starting to write my own songs, starting to sing a little bit as well, even though it was genuinely terrible. But I developed that interest myself by teaching myself how to play the guitar. It wasn't through someone else trying to teach me what was right and what was wrong. I was learning by making the mistakes myself and learning to listen to the music and picking up things by ear. And that for me was how I learned to play the guitar. Now, as I said before, that is not right for everyone. Some people do like lessons and they will go to lessons every single week, if not more, and thoroughly enjoy it and become a better musician by doing that. So for me, there is reasons to have lessons, there is reasons to teach yourself. Some reasons to teach yourself are that you can learn at your own pace and you can learn the things that you want to learn. And that for me is the most important thing, because you can then keep your interest. You can keep learning the things that you want to learn, and you don't have anyone else stopping you. You are literally focused on those things that you want to learn. And if you want to go off and try something else, you can do, but you are literally unlimited to learn whatever you want and follow your interests. If you wanted to learn how to finger pick on the guitar, go and do it. If you just wanted to learn a new chord, go and do it. You're not limited at all. If you wanted to learn how to sing and play the guitar at the same time, even though you can't right now, go and do it. If you wanted to learn a new song, go and do it. If you wanted to write your own song for the first time, go and do it. You've got no one stopping you. You can literally follow your interests at any one point. And as well, if you have that interest in something that you are trying out, you will keep learning, because that's where your motivation comes from, to learn something, your interests. So if you have it, you will do it and you'll want to do it more and more and more. And finally, the main reason for teaching yourself is it's completely free. You've not got to pay anyone. You can do it in your own time, spend no money, do it as much or as little as you want, and you've not got anything else to worry about. On the other hand, however, there are reasons to have lessons, and the main one for me is you will have a mentor, someone that you can go and talk to. If you're not quite sure about something, you can go and talk to someone, your mentor, your teacher, about where you might be going wrong, and you can have a conversation and pinpoint what it is you need to work on. Whereas if you're teaching yourself, you don't necessarily have that. You might have friends with other interests in it that you can go and talk to, but by having a dedicated teacher that is teaching you how to play music, you have someone that you can just ring up, ask a question, and then continue trying to learn what it is you are trying to learn, while still going back to that teacher for more advice when you might need it. But then again, a negative with having a teacher, and this was what was the downfall for me as a kid, you might be under pressure to learn things that you don't want to learn. So when I was a kid, the handful of lessons that I had, they were teaching me how to play by the textbook, and I was not interested. I was being taught what an A note looked like on a stave, and I really couldn't have cared less. So that for me is a big one. And that also links back to what I was trying to say before, where having the right teacher for you is so important if you're going to have lessons. If you're going to have lessons and you're interested in rock music, you need a teacher that is interested in rock music and understands your style of music. It's pointless going to a classical music teacher if you're interested in rock music, because it's completely different. One of the teachers that I had when I was a kid was trying to teach me how to play the guitar classically. So you know, when it's all upright and the guitar's in between your legs. And I was interested in Oasis and Stereophonics. I did not see Kelly Jones playing the guitar like that, so I didn't want to play the guitar like that. It is hugely important to get the right teacher for your style of music and what you want to learn. So what I'm going to do now is I put this out on social media before on my Instagram to see whether or not you think you need music lessons to become a decent musician, and a few of you got in touch, so we're going to have a look at what you said. Will Banks says, no, you do not need music lessons, just got to want to learn enough, as long as you learn playing your favourite songs. And I couldn't agree more. That is exactly how I learn. I had the songs I want to learn, so I learned how to play the chords that were involved in those songs, and then I went and learnt them myself. I didn't have anyone telling me that putting my fingers in the wrong place. I learned it all by ear, and I think that is the strongest way you can learn, because you are teaching yourself to listen to the music. And at the end of the day, music is all about your ears. And if you can teach yourself to learn how to play by ear, what sounds right, what sounds wrong, that really helps. It really does. Tay says you need to have vocal lessons to learn how to sing, and then after he sent another one saying, not me, just musicians in general. But again, I think that's down to what you are trying to do, whether it's down to what sort of music it is, what sort of style you're trying to sing in. Classical music, again, I keep referring to classical music. You might need to learn how to sing classical music with a teacher, or opera, something like that. That is such a niche style that you need to teach your voice to do things that aren't that easy. But when it comes to pop music, rock music, it's down to you at the end of the day. I've never had a singing lesson. The musicians that I listen to, they've never had singing lessons. But again, people like Chris Martin, he has had singing lessons. So it is down to you as an individual whether or not you want to have singing lessons. Craig says, yes, for learning instruments from the very beginning. After that, it's easier to self-learn. And I completely agree with that as well. If you need a teacher to teach you how to play some chords or learn some notes from them so you can go off and do your own things, then that is perfectly fine. If you need that, go and have the lessons. But yeah, for me, learning by yourself, learning how to do things yourself, listening to the music and picking things up by ear, that is, for me, how I learn. I know that's not right for a lot of people, but I think teaching yourself, that is the way that you keep interest in something as well. Now as well, you can pick up bad habits by teaching things yourself, but you're gonna learn what sounds right, what sounds wrong, and by teaching yourself, I think you're developing that stronger understanding of what music is. And music is different to everyone. It's completely subjective. There's arguments about it all the time, about what's good, what's bad. But at the end of the day, music's music. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. And it's different for everyone. That's music, that's life. So yeah, that's it for this video. Any questions or comments, drop them in the comments section below. Come and say hello, click that like button and subscribe as well if you like what you see on this channel, and I shall see you all very soon in another lesson.